1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, hello.
Welcome to the Kennedy and Clark Masters of Rock Talk podcast.
Of Rock Talk back on the dial. I'm your host, Kennedy, and the man next to me used to idolize Steve McQueen and like to go to San Francisco, rent out those Aston Martins, and just try to hit those hills. None other than the legend himself, Dick Dale. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Wayne Gretzky, thank you.
Good old Dick Dale, eh?
Dick Dale, good for you.
Yeah.
Dick Dale on the guitar, yeah.
Sir, no, but the real legend is none other than
Dr. Ian Clark. Thank you very much.
Dr. Clark. I'm going to let you segue into this intro, and I'll let you talk about what we're going to talk about.
Well, what we're going to talk about, damn it, is the Rolling Stones. UltimateClassicRock.com put out an article called 50 Musicians Who Almost Joined the Rolling Stones. You know, the Rolling Stones have been around for so long. For me, they're kind of a rock soap opera. People come, people go, they die, new people are born. It just doesn't stop. There are particular dangers of joining the Rolling Stones, not the least of which is your health. Not everyone has the constitution of a Keith Richards.
Keef.
Keef. Plus, you will lose any kind of musical identity, hello Ronnie Wood, that you thought you wanted or that you had. That's just the way it goes. How many of you know that Ron Wood was a member of Faces, right?
I do.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Give him $1.
Small Faces or just Faces?
I don't know. Faces.
Okay.
Long John Daltrey, no. Most fans are familiar with, of course, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, the Glimmer Twins, and there's Ronnie Wood, who wasn't around when the Stones got together in 1962, but joined in 76. A couple of founding members have died. Brian Jones, 1969, he's 27, and Charlie Watts, who was 80 in 2021. Now, this article goes over 15 guys that are various stages of joining the band. Obviously, none of them did. And the inciting incident, as they say in drama, is when their guitarist Mick Taylor left in the 70s. Kind of just out the door. I guess he left in late 74. So why don't we read them off? We'll play ping pong here.
All right.
Kennedy, why don't you go first? Of somebody who almost joined the Stones.
Well, it would have been interesting. Yardbird great himself, Jeff Beck.
Oh, yes.
So obviously, like you said, Mick Taylor had left in 74, and it actually was kind of sucked that he left because I enjoyed those albums with Mick Taylor.
I thought he was a wonderful guitar player, and I think, hey, like Let It Bleed, like some of their best stuff was with Mick Taylor. It just was.
Bleed, Beggar's Banquet.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. It's Rock and Roll is All Right. That's the last one they did.
It's only rock and roll.
That's the last one. That last
was it
album.
really?
Yeah. Going back to the one that almost joined, Jeff Beck. Sure, why not? That would have been cool.
Wait a second though. I think now Jeff Beck didn't join. He said, "I don't think it would have lasted. I don't think musically we were on the same path." Jeff Beck is doing jazz albums with George Martin producing them, and you go, how would Jeff Beck? Where I don't see him in the Rolling Stones doing Brown Sugar. He's going to get every night on a tour for 3 years. There's no way. Jeff Beck was not a joiner. He's not a strong. It wouldn't happen.
So he did the right move, staying on his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
And doing some work with Rod Stewart every now and then.
Yeah, now and then, or just being a brilliant all-around guitarist, but not really focused.
All right.
Next up is Peter Frampton. Blah, 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 blah. Peter Frampton, he was with, Humble Pie, and what does it say here? Frampton wasn't chosen, but he secured global fame. It was 76 as Frampton Comes Alive. No kidding. Not long after that, Frampton ran to Jagger at Electric Light Studios in New York. He confirmed the guitarist was on the list, but we knew you were about to do what you just did. Yeah, well, Peter Frampton could have been an interesting addition, but he was a strong composer. The Rolling Stones have 2 composers and 1 lead singer, and they always will. And if you don't fit in that, you don't fit in that. Ron Wood doesn't really write songs. Ron Wood doesn't sing. That easy. So, who's up next?
Frampton's Humble Pie's bandmate, Steve Marriott,
Well known.
was also considered for the position, but was not on the same page. Jagger didn't want to lose his status as the band's
there you
primary
go.
singer. I like this quote. Keith wanted him in, but there was no way that once Steve opened his mouth, Mick would even have him in the band.
Yeah, I mean, that I just said, there's one singer. It's like Robbie Robertson finding out that Eric Clapton wanted to join the band, and he said to himself, well, I'm the lead guitarist. What's Eric going to do?
A rhythm.
Eric, do you mind? We know you're a god, but just play 4 chords in this.
So Clapton wanted to join the band, eh? That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
and they said no.
I would have said yes.
Oh, no, it won't work. No, you can't have guys like that. Again, as the superstar, it won't work.
Okay.
Next up is Harvey Mandel.
Is he Canadian too?
He said, yeah, he walks around carrying a big funny person. There's once had fluffy hair, then he lost it all. As Canned Heat, going up the country water. As Canned Heat's Harvey Mandel remembered, he got a call from Mick Jagger early one morning, inviting him to Munich to play in a few tracks. The idea of Mandel joining the group came up, but, quote, there was a whole argument in the studio, unquote. Richards apparently wanted to keep the band wholly English, but Mandel did that, continued to parts of Hot Stuff. It's like kind of their attempt at disco. And Memory Motel, the Black and Blue album in 1976, which actually is not a bad album. But I just think, I don't know enough. Canned Heat, I know, kind of a bluesy 60s blues band there at Woodstock. I don't know how that would have ended up.
Well, Dick Taylor, no relation to Mick Taylor, was
Right.
actually a member, technically speaking, he was a member of the Stones.
Yeah.
Played bass in the very earliest incarnation of the group in 62 before they hired a manager or had a record deal, and Taylor quickly decided it was not for him, choosing to go back to art school and forming The Pretty Things in 63. So obviously Bill Wyman came in and it was there for 30 years.
Pretty Things is a good band. They were a good band. Another bit of trivia there. Charlie Watts decided to join the Stones because he didn't like to travel.
Well, how'd that work out for him?
I know.
He traveled all over the world.
That's funny. Yeah, it's funny what people do. Paul Jones. No, not John Paul Jones. Paul Jones. Rolling Stones co-founder Brian Jones. How many people are named Jones? Asked his friend Paul Jones in 62 if he's interested in joining the band. Paul Jones, who later became Manfred Mann's singer, declined, quote, I thought Brian's idea that he would become rich and famous was excessively optimistic, he said. I had already asked Brian to be in my band. And so it didn't obviously work out. I know his voice, but again, he's a singer. So I'm not sure. I guess when Brian was putting the band together in 62. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, you have to recall that besides giving the Rolling Stones their name, Brian Jones was the leader. He put the band together. He got the gigs. He got the money and paid the guys. Like,
He was a hustler.
he was a hustler, all right.
This one here, Mick Avery.
Oh, sure.
And I'm almost positive he was one of the original drummers, if I'm not mistaken, because
Yeah.
he was around during the Stones' early days and even rehearsed with the band a few times in 62. Initially, I spoke to Mick Jagger, who was friendly enough between us prancing around. Avery recalled in a 2017 interview. The person I spoke to the most was Ian Stewart, which is another name that will go down the list, pianist with the band at the time, who told me that the R&B music they were playing was going to be big and they would be laughing all the way to the bank before too long. But Avery moved on to the Kinks. Not a bad move.
Not a bad move, but another super group. Not like
But I kind of would have stuck around with the Stones.
that one. He probably would have. Anyway,
I'd be kicking myself.
Yeah, I know that one's a tough one.
See, I'm always loyal.
I think we on a previous podcast we discussed. Oh, we did. It was a Masters of Rock Talk. We discussed Ringo Starr, Is he a great drummer, etc., etc.? Well, regardless, he's 1/4 of the greatest rock band in the history.
He was loyal. He didn't cause arguments. He just liked everybody, and that was it.
Well, plus that he had something, because every hair on everyone's head was important for the fame of that band. They were total freaks. It shouldn't have happened. Rory Gallagher. Yeah, Rory Gallagher would not have fit in any group like that. The Stones invited him to jam with them for a few days in Rotterdam following the departure of Mick Taylor. Marshall Chess, one of the Chess brothers, reportedly told Gallagher, "I knew you were the man for the job." No, he's not. Rory Gallagher is not going to join the Rolling Stones. He has his own band. He has his own albums. He was a brilliant guitarist. So I just think I think they're getting desperate. Marshall Chess must have been getting pretty jumpy or something, because that's a ridiculous choice.
The next one is Niles Lofgren.
Sure.
And the second Niles learned that Mick had left the Stones, Mick Taylor, he sprang into action.
Boing.
Boom. And he got in touch with Ronnie Wood. He told him that he wasn't going to be joining the Stones, but he'd be given Lofgren's name to Jagger and Richards.
Okay.
That's great, Niles.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the. And of course, Ronnie joined the Stones later. Like, you can realize these guys, the way things work out.
Ronnie took it for himself.
Sure did.
He wasn't stupid.
He wasn't stupid. He's still around, too. Next up is Andy Summers. That would not have worked. Andy Summers wasn't in the Police when his name came up as a potential replacement. He wasn't offered the job, so he put everything into a new band called The Police.
That would have been weird, though, with Andy Summers.
I don't see him in the Stones.
It's not their style.
Not at
what
all.
Are they, new wave?
New wave, punky new wave, closer to new wave.
And they had some sort of like reggae stuff too going.
Yeah, that kind of faux reggae.
Yeah.
Roxanne, and I just don't. Everything worked out. Andy Summers. The next one up.
Oh, well, I'm wondering if his son is Mark Ronson. So is Mick Ronson? Is it the Mark?
No,
No,
it's
okay.
not.
So Mick Ronson, who played the guitar with many high-profile artists, from David Bowie to Bob Dylan to Elton John. It's not exactly clear if he made the short list for the Stones, but it was rumored his name came up. I thought that would have been.
I would have been okay. I mean, he is one of the Spiders from Mars, Bowie's great band. I don't know if Mick. Yeah, he wasn't really a leader that way. He didn't really write songs. He was a great producer and a great guitar player. Check out when he's doing Heroes with Bowie and members of Queen, the YouTube video. He nails it. Next up is Wayne Perkins.
Not Carl Perkins.
Not related. He's British, born in Birmingham, 51, so a bit younger than the Stones. He came damn close to being a Stone, Keith wrote in his 210 memoir. He was a lovely player, same style, which wouldn't have ricocheted against what Mick Taylor was doing. Very melodic, very well-played stuff. According to Keith, the band liked Perkins, but as with Harvey Mandel, being American kept him from joining the English band. That's a weird thought, but they are a very English band. Like, I can't see an American band doing that, but unless it was from the South, maybe. But I don't know. It wouldn't even come up, probably. You're either good or you're not. But the British, yeah, there you go.
The next one, Ry Cooder. I feel like I'm watching an episode of Dukes of Hazzard here. There was a time when Ry Cooder was an honorary Rolling Stone.
Sure.
Filling in for Brian Jones during his last years, he played on 2 Stones albums, Let It Bleed and Sticky Fingers. I like those albums, actually. As well as the 1972 LP called Jamming with Edward that featured Cooder, Jagger, Watts, Wyman, and keyboardist Nicky Hopkins.
Great Nicky Hopkins.
Whether or not those sessions doubled as loose auditions for Cooder isn't clear. The Rolling Stones brought, what did they say here? Can't even turn a page.
The Rolling Stones brought me to England under totally false pretenses, he told Rolling Stone in 1970. They weren't playing well and were just messing around in the studio. Cooder, Richards later said, introduced him to his favorite 5-string open G tuning. Yeah, that's very true. Ry Cooder introduced, that's his big contribution to the Stones, I think. Because after that, they got this kind of roadhouse sound, which they never stopped using. So, next up, Shuggy Otis. Yeah, I don't see him with the Rolling Stones, but 1974, he got a call. Shuggy Otis got a call from Billy Preston, the fifth Beatle, asking if he wanted to join the tour of the Rolling Stones. That was a very famous tour. His reply was, "No, I don't want to be a sideman," he explained later in 2016. I wanted to do my own music. I could have been an instant millionaire. I don't know about that. Not instant, a few times probably, but that wasn't on my mind at all. Well, power to the guy, but I don't see him as, I know a bit of his music. I don't see him, he's a great musician. The Rolling Stones, in my opinion, aren't great musicians. They're kind of ragtag, and that's their appeal. In fact, if you listen to their live albums, often they're all over the place. But so I don't think it'd be a good fit.
And the last one they had here was Chris Spedding.
Oh, yeah.
Guitarist Chris Spedding recalled to classic rock in 2023. So this year, when news arrived that Mick Taylor was leaving the Rolling Stones, everyone wondered who his replacement would be. All the music papers were full of speculation, he said. It's a little bit like when the Pope dies and you get pictures of all these people who might succeed him. Jagger called Spedding, asking if he would consider joining them on a tour of the States, but Spedding was already booked. A week later, there was an announcement that Ron Wood had joined.
Well, there you have it, folks. I think it's important to note that over half the people on that list did not want to join the Rolling Stones. I mean, as I said earlier, I can't see Jeff Beck playing with the Rolling Stones. That makes no sense. If anyone out there knows of other guitar players, well, it would have to be guitar players, who almost joined the Stones, send us an email. That's at seriousrocktalk@yahoo.com, and we will announce the poor guy's name on the program. And with that, I think we leave the Rolling Stones at peace.
Want to leave them at peace?
Let's leave them at peace, unless you got something else to add.
Just a quick timeline
Sure.
of how it transpired. So the lineup changes, a complete guide, as they like to call it. So, given how long they've been together, the Stones have actually weathered a surprisingly small number of lineup changes.
It's true.
And considering you thought there'd be a lot of egos in there. So, 62, we had Brian Jones, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Dick Taylor, Tony Chapman, Ian Stewart. 63 to 69, they had Brian Jones, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Bill Wyman, Charlie Watts.
Yeah.
69 to 74, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Bill Wyman, Charlie Watts, Mick Taylor.
That's true.
That's probably my favorite lineup.
Yeah, I think so.
75 to 93, actually I don't mind this lineup neither. Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Bill Wyman, Charlie Watts, Ronnie Wood. 1994 to 2021, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Charlie Watts, Ronnie Wood. And then, present, we got Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood, and you got to put Steve Jordan, because that was the guy Charlie said that if I can't make it, you got to get Steve Jordan, which was Keith Richards' drummer.
Yeah.
Now the funny thing is,
that's right.
Yeah, the funny thing is that from 93 to 2021, no mention of Daryl Jones.
I know. I have a buddy who plays bass, and he played on tour, boats and stuff. Like he's one of those guys that got around, and he thinks Daryl Jones' sound changed the Stones, but I don't know why he's pushed so far in the background.
They never have him in the photos.
No.
So they were, to me, the Stones have always been a quintet, really, because he was the bass player. But the photos of, I guess, after Bill Wyman left.
Yeah.
So from 93 onwards, it's always Keith, Mick, Charlie.
Once he improved them, I think he's probably a better bass player than Bill Wyman. But he's made a lot of money, and God bless him. And I'm sure when he signed on, that's part of the deal. You're staying in the background.
Well, that's kind of sad because
I think so.
Like, and as everyone knows, I'm a huge fan of the Stones. Ian wants them to shut it down. I want them to continue until they can't go anymore. I figure another 20 years.
Well, 20, that'd be like a medical miracle, but okay.
I just want them to go forever. Like, just keep going. Why not? The new album, Hackney Diamonds, came out. I ordered it. It's there. It's a green one. I love it. At the end of the day, Before we end this,
Yes.
there's one food for thought that just came out, and this is going to make Ian's brain just go bananas.
Frontal lobe will collapse.
Billy Joel and Sting are touring together, Ian. I'm going to leave it
wow.
at that.
Well, like you're, like there is. This confirms that there is no God.
Sting and Billy Joel are going to be touring together. What the hell are they? What's that feeling? What the hell is that?
I just think that often older guys split up, like Elton John toured with Billy Joel, and I saw the concert. It's because you're tired. You want to get a nap. You want to do a whole show. So the other guy carries the show, and you come after your nap, and I think that's what's going on. But their styles aren't really a little bit loungy in a way, but they're not really that compatible.
I wonder who's going to drum for them. Is it going to be Stuart Copeland, who can't stand Sting's face, or Liberty DeVito?
I would say the guy from the Stones will come in, and
Steve Jordan?
yeah, they come in and bang around. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Steve Jordan's going to leave the Stones. I don't know, man. I'll stick to the Stones gig if I'm Steve Jordan.
No, that's depressing. But expect more and more of it, ladies and gentlemen, of older rockers dueling up. Because why not? You just do half a show, get half the money, get you out of the house, right? That's all it is. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that about these poor people in the Rolling Stones. And again, as I said, if you could think of anybody else, maybe a drummer in the early days, I don't know. Send us a note. We'll mention it on the air.
At SeriousRockTalk@yahoo.com.
And thanks very much. Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Oh, hello.
You've been listening to the Masters of Rock Talk podcast.